Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the show tonight. We're doing things a bit differently because this is a special occasion. We have the PWF Empire podcast presented to you this Wednesday night because of the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. The tournament ended tonight with the finale and the secret that the entire world knew. The Cruiserweight Champion would be determined on this show as well, because effectively that finale of the Cruiserweight Classic was also a Cruiserweight Championship match. And if you're watching the screen right now on YouTube, you can see that the winner of the Cruiserweight Classic was TJ Perkins. But hopefully that's not the place that you found out. Hopefully you actually watched the damn tournament and you saw him win yourself. But I got Cass here with me on the line. And Cass, we've raved about this on the podcast each and every week, how phenomenal the Cruiserweight Classic was on a week-to-week basis. Just the undertaking of this tournament and how different it was from what WWE does on a regular basis, and how they were able to create some kind of magic with that tournament format. And I'm hoping that maybe you saw a little bit of that magic tonight. Maybe. I don't know. Did you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely saw it. Don't get me wrong. I'll be honest with you. I'm probably much like most of the fans. I was expecting Sabre Jr. and Ibushi in the finals. That's honestly what I was expecting. But I know we'll get to it. I know we're gonna get to it. But yeah, just great storytelling, great matches all around. And this just shows that even the cruiserweights can still have good matches and characters can be developed.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and get started with the very first match that we saw tonight on the show. Gran Metalik versus Zack Sabre Jr. This was the first semifinals match. The winner of this match would go on to the finals, and as we know now, it was Gran Metalik. He defeats Zack Sabre Jr. with the Metalik driver. Now, I was watching this and I have this thing going with Zack Sabre Jr. where nothing is really going, because I've made up my mind. I'm not a fan based off of what I have seen in the Cruiserweight Classic. It's just that he doesn't have the level of psychology for me, and he's not a fully fleshed out character. He's not a fully fleshed out performer. He's great with what he does from a technical perspective, but that does not really affect me in any kind of substantial way. But I will say, for Zack Sabre Jr., this was the best match that I've seen him in out of the entire Cruiserweight Classic, and that's for two reasons. One of those reasons is because he was not the one dictating the pace of this match. It was on Gran Metalik, and that guy was flying all over the damn place, and it was fun, and it was exciting. Words that I can't really use to describe Zack Sabre Jr. and what I've seen from him for the most part in this tournament. And the second reason why is because when Zack Sabre Jr. was on offense, he was telling a story there that Daniel Bryan picked up off of, and I'm so glad that he did. He was talking about how Zack Sabre Jr. was being a lot more vicious in this match than he was in his previous ones. Because if you look at the previous ones, it's maybe he was toying with those guys. He was having a little bit too much fun with
he was in control.
Power. Yeah, he was in control, and he just knew that he was, what does he call himself, the technical wizard? Something like that. Yeah, so you could just tell that there was a change in tone for him in this match, and I'm so damn glad that him, along with everyone else on the show, they really rose to the occasion, and they made it feel like this was a big event, this shit is serious, and it reaped the benefits for Zack Sabre Jr. in this match.
What I liked about this is the fact on how technical it was, and now you can still hear the physicality in it. This just shows you you can have a technical match, and they didn't do a lot of high flying as I thought, because as you've seen at Gran Metalik, he was on. I actually didn't expect him to get this far, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I kind of he was one of those dudes where he'll get to the semifinals, but it's the writing is on the walls. But other than that, I'm glad he got the win. Like I said, I just like when I can get technical wrestling, and there's not a lot of flippy shit. I'm just gonna put it bluntly.
Yeah, the big criticism that I have for Zack Sabre Jr. was that everything that he did, it looked good. It looked pretty. It was aesthetically pleasing for some people, just the flow and the crispness that he has with what he does. But you can actually see, like you were saying, the physicality in this match. And I like how Gran Metalik, and the announcers, they really played into this. When you think of Lucha Libre and Cruiserweights also, just bringing it all together, you think that it is just like the flippy shit and stuff like that, or at least that's like a stereotype that people attribute to that style of wrestling. But they did a great job in explaining how there is like that cruiserweight style, it's rooted in some
Absolutely.
like some technical things in wrestling too. And we really saw Gran Metalik meet Zack Sabre Jr. at his level and beat him at his level when it comes to the technical aspect of wrestling. So just looking at all of that storytelling in this match, that was some great stuff, and I'm so damn glad Gran Metalik actually won here.
Yeah, and you know what, here's the thing. I heard a lot of people saying a lot on how they didn't know why Sabre Jr. won. I mean, here's the thing. If Gran Metalik is going to be on Raw...
You mean why he lost?
Yeah, I mean, why he lost. But here's the thing. Like, if Gran Metalik's going to be, like, on the Raw Cruiserweight division, then he has to go over in that sense. Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think Zack has signed a deal with WWE, if I'm correct.
He's not a part of... You know how on Monday Night Raw every week they show all of the people who are going to be a part of the Cruiserweight division? I have not seen his face yet. And his name wasn't on the roster on Wikipedia. So, you know, like Abraham Lincoln said, Wikipedia is always... If you can't count on anything else, you can count on Wikipedia.
But yeah, the right person went over, which is the bottom line.
Definitely. Okay, the next match that we had here at the Cruiserweight Classic was TJ Perkins versus Kota Ibushi.
Holy shit.
Man, this match though. Kota Ibushi, he was the person that every single, like, if you
wanted to go over.
Yeah, like, everyone was talking about Kota Ibushi from the very first moment that all of the names were announced for the tournament, and they told that story each and every week on TV. They made sure they mentioned that Kota Ibushi was the favorite, but we get into this match, and TJ Perkins, there was a point in the match where he kicked out of the power bomb from
I was shocked at that.
I was too. There was a point in this match. I'm actually going to go over the sequence. I know damn well me going over all of the moves that happened is not going to really do it justice. If you have not seen it, you definitely got to check it out. But the point in the match where TJ Perkins countered Ibushi with the DDT, then they went into a near fall after the lung blower. Then Ibushi went into the Golden Star Powerbomb. TJ Perkins kicked out. That was a big moment in the match. Great near fall. Ibushi went for the Phoenix Splash. He missed. And, like, once you got that sequence there, like, the match was already damn good. But once you could see it kicking into that final gear where it's like, okay, they're going for the big finish here. And that was at that point. And it was just balls to the wall from that point on. Just some amazing stuff. And TJ Perkins wins by flowing from a sunset flip into a knee bar, which Kota Ibushi tapped out to. And he actually worked down Ibushi's neck, too. And they played that up in the match, the surgically repaired neck of Ibushi.
And that goes all the way back to what Daniel Bryan mentioned on commentary, which I am so happy he's been doing a tremendous job on commentary, which is what we can't say for most of the main roster, but that's around the point. But yeah, like there's really not much to say about this. Like I said, I like the way Daniel Bryan played out what happened in Ibushi's match where he hurt his neck, because that's great continuity, and I like continuity in wrestling. And I like the way that TJ Perkins was built up as the guy who did not expect to win, which makes the shot value just even more all around fantastic. But again, real quick, this was another situation where, again, I mentioned this, a lot of people expected Ibushi and Zack Sabre in the finals, and yet Ibushi did not win. And this is where I don't like the Full Sail crowd. This is where I can't stand it, because it's just like, do they not know that the right person is supposed to go over if they're going to be the one that's going to be showcasing themselves on the Cruiserweight division on Raw?
Well, I completely understand what you're saying right there, but I did not even let that thought creep into my mind. It would, if you looked at those matches, taking into account the fact that Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi,
either way,
neither one of them are going to be in the, or at least at this point, they're not announced for Raw's Cruiserweight division. So it would be very easy to say, of course, Gran Metalik and TJ Perkins were going to win these semifinals matches. But I looked at this as a completely separate entity from whatever is going on or whatever is going to go on Monday Night Raw. I was just like, this is his own product. I want to know what's going on here. So, like, please believe me, I'm not providing any excuses for the Full Sail crowd and their obnoxiousness.
There you go.
But I could understand why, like, people didn't want to think about that. They just wanted to, check their minds off and just, what am I getting here with the Cruiserweight Classic? But, hell, Triple H, at the end of the show, he was like, nah, you got to make those connections. Like, connect those dots.
We gonna get to that.
We'll definitely get there. Okay, so next up, we had pretty much what was an exhibition match. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus Cedric Alexander and Noam Dar. DIY. They do it here, and they get the victory.
This match was great. However, that 3 count kind of just ruined it for me, to be honest with you. Because it's like, here's the thing. I will say this, though. Because, you can tell in the match, you tell the team that they wanted to win and help get over, which actually I really, really love the fact that they're carrying a storyline that's from a separate brand in NXT, and yet they're bringing it into the Cruiserweight Classic, and they're incorporating it on how they're going to step up against one of the best teams in the world in the Revival. That continues that. And you also showcase them. But the fact that 3, it was a clear 3 count.
Oh, are you talking about the one where Cedric Alexander went for the pin?
Yes, that kind of ruined it for me, but that's something that's just something little. But the match was great, and you know how much I love my tag team wrestling.
Yes,
and
I do.
And if this is what and this just proves that there's a possibility that you can have additional tag teams for the Raw roster, even if it is in the Cruiserweight division.
That's something that we'll talk about later on in the show, because we want to expand this video into talking about the Cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw also, and we'll talk about that a little later. But I thought that this was a damn good match. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, I talked last week on the show, I believe, about how I've grown into a really big fan of theirs, and this was, like I said, it was like an exhibition match for them. It was to showcase who they are, continue them on this road towards fighting the Revival for the titles, and they actually did like the title motion after the match was over, we're coming for those damn belts. And I look forward to that showdown in the future. Then you have Cedric Alexander, Noam Dar. Cedric Alexander, one of the highlights of the Cruiserweight Classic.
That's my guy. That is my guy.
Yeah, I remember you pulling for him when, but you know, he got ran over by Kota Ibushi. But
I don't want to remember that. Even though
I do. I do. I want to remember that damn match. That match is awesome. But Cedric Alexander, he was one of my favorites, and then Noam Dar, he was there. But yeah, I believe these are 2 guys who are going to be in the Cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw. So it was great to give them that little bit of extra face time or whatever they could have possibly gained from this
and
situation.
That's important.
That'll take them into Monday Night Raw. Good stuff. You know, even in a losing effort, they still look really good here.
And that's the thing that we've always talked on NXT, on how the way that they build up talent and how they still come out, even on the losing end, still looking good. So when the next time comes around, you can be like, this guy had an incredible match. Let's see how he's going to respond, and then he sometimes gets the win.
And the thing is, when you do stuff like that, like, you have to have a really good performance, because like, if you just go into the ring and you get your ass kicked and then you think that you're looking good in defeat, it doesn't really work that way.
Like Dean Ambrose.
I was thinking about somebody else, but I digress.
Never mind.
Yeah, those people, they try to, get that push after getting their asses whooped, and it just doesn't work that way.
Moving on.
I'm just being a little petty there. But there's one point in the match that I really liked where Cedric Alexander, he was trying to go for a dive off the top. Well, he was trying to go for a dive over the ropes, but Johnny Gargano rushed in. It was like an RKO out of nowhere. He just dived through the ropes and tackled him. That was pretty cool. But just overall really good match. Nice outing for Gargano and Ciampa, and I look forward to seeing how they take this and they move on to the tag title picture. But let me just say this as well. I forgot who it was. It probably was Daniel Bryan or maybe Morrow. Both of them are good when it comes to stuff like this and just adding that extra story to what's going on. They talked about how they went through that battle in the Cruiserweight Classic and they experienced all that very emotional moment there. And you could look at a moment like that because I believe it was on on Takeover after they lost, and we were scared because it looked like they were gonna
do the heel turn,
like go for a heel turn. But they talked about how all of this stuff that they've gone through, it's actually made them stronger as partners. Going through all of this emotion and these setbacks and this, heartbreak and stuff like that. So I thought that was awesome, and it's something that was organically created from this Cruiserweight Classic is going to live on a week-to-week basis in NXT. So good shit.
And real quick, you want to know what I also loved about this show was the way that the match structure was laid out. Like, if you look at all of these, like if you would have went in here not seeing anything from the Cruiserweight Classic from start to finish, you're just watching the 2-hour finale, and you always saw like 4 matches on the show, and one of them was a bonus match, you'd probably be sitting there going like, wow, this show is probably gonna like not be as good because these are probably gonna be some short matches. But they were able to find a way to, and this goes back to the time limit thing, which I also like, is how the way that the time of the matches were structured. Like you can tell like some of these matches, like they felt like 30-minute classics or like over 35-minute classics, but you can like the way that the time limit structure is done. Some of these matches actually were, for all we know, were probably like a good 16 to 15 minutes, and they were able to pull that out.
Alrighty, and before we move to the actual action in the finale, just as the bell was about to ring and the contest was about to begin, we had
God.
Yes. As Cass would call him, God.
Yeah, shout out to Shaq Daddy for referring to Triple H as God, which he is.
Yes, the King of Kings, the cerebral assassin, the aristocrat assassin authority, Mr. Triple H himself. He comes out and he makes the announcement on the spot there that the winner of this match will become WWE's new Cruiserweight Champion and jump over to Monday Night Raw. Yes.
That belt looks badass.
I'm questioning the strap though, because I mean
it's purple.
Was it purple? Shit, I'm a little colorblind, so I don't know.
Jay, the last thing that we need to worry about in this world.
I'm not colorblind. I'm color vision deficient.
Jay, you should know this. Believe me, the last thing we need to worry about in 2016 is being colorblind. Believe me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good one. But I mean, like in like not in my mind. My mind is not colorblind. My fucking eyes are. But it looked like it was the same color as the straps for like the tag team titles, and I was like, wait a minute.
No, it was purple.
Okay, thank you.
It was purple. Purple is Barney, but that's around the point.
It was a theme of the Cruiserweight Classic, though. Like in the color scheme, it was purple. So I mean, it makes sense if I'm to believe what you say. Because shit, I don't know. But yeah. So Triple H, he introduces the title. And the match begins, Gran Metalik versus TJ Perkins, and holy shit, what a match this was. Now, this was a match that you said yourself, you didn't expect either of these people to be in the finale, but when they got there, they rose to the damn occasion, and they rose up so high, they tore the roof off the damn place. There was one spot in the match where Gran Metalik, he went for a Hurricanrana while TJ Perkins was on the apron, and this dude floated. He didn't jump. He floated over the fucking top rope. I was like, wow.
Just pure fluid in motion. And just pure fluid in motion, which is what you definitely do not see in any psychology in any match, especially in today. So yeah, just great stuff. There was another
point in the match, a great part where TJ Perkins went for the long blower. Then he went for the cover Gran Metalik kicks out, and TJ Perkins flows right into the knee bar. But that wasn't where the match ended. We actually had Gran Metalik. It was a point in the match where he went for the Metalik driver, but he couldn't really get the cover in time, and it was crazy because he's won his matches with the Metalik driver, but those few seconds that he wasted in like trying to tend to his knee, because TJP was working down the knee for pretty much the entire match.
Psychology.
Like, he could have won. He could have won in those few seconds, and I thought that was a great spot. But then, there was another point, and this is actually the ending of the match, where Metalik goes for the driver from the second rope, but TJP counters it into the knee bar, and I love the evolution of the knee bar when he locked it in, because he went from the regular old knee bar to crossing his leg over the back of Metalik's leg, and then he underhooked the leg, and then Metalik tapped out. TJP, your new Cruiserweight Champion, winner of the first ever Cruiserweight Classic.
Yes, and another thing to keep in mind is the fact that was a submission finisher. That didn't involve slamming someone on their head, a top rope move, a springboard move, wherever you might want to call it. It involved a submission, which
that was no flippy shit right there. That was
that's definitely what you don't see in psychology. What I liked about this is another thing I liked about this is just the fact on how they played up the fact on fatigue. Like, they had already competed in 2 matches. Both of them had already competed in matches, and the physicality took a toll on them. And the fact that I can actually see that, and they're playing towards that, because we get a lot of complaints in wrestling on how people don't no sell, or the fact on how after a person gets hit with a big move, they automatically get right back up. However, in this match, you could definitely see the fatigue, which adds more drama. And again, I love psychology when you can do it right in the middle of the ring. And TJ Perkins being the new Cruiserweight Champion, that was just icing on the cake. But back to the Full Sail crowd real quick. How bipolar is that crowd? The fact that they were booing that guy when he beat Ibushi, and then they're saying you deserve it in the end.
You know what? They just wanted to be a part of a moment.
Exactly.
That's all that is. Like, that's what...
Kevin Owens is right.
It sucked. Yeah, he was 100% correct when he said that. And it sucks that these you deserve it chants have become trendy to do. We heard, you deserve it like 3 times in the last few weeks. You would have expected for this to be the best fucking week in wrestling history.
Yes, or month.
Yeah, like the best month in wrestling history. Here in 4 times actually, because they did it with Finn Balor,
Becky Lynch,
Kevin Owens, Becky Lynch, and now TJ Perkins. Shit, you would think that this was the best month in the entire history of wrestling. And the whole thing with Finn Balor, that was kind of like, that was assholish of them, because it's like they were chanting "You deserve it" just before he was about to relinquish the title. So what are you saying? He deserves to get injured to lose a title? But shit, I don't know. I digress.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it with Sasha too. That one was warranted though.
Yeah, that definitely was.
I'll rock with that one. But no bias. But nobody's gonna believe me when I say
Triple H putting the guys over that he has done in this tournament, that there's absolutely no reason, and we're gonna get into it shortly.
And AJ too. Damn.
Yes, and AJ too. Absolutely. And honestly, throughout this whole tournament, the storytelling has just been great. I'm just gonna say my favorite moment from this whole thing.
Wait, before you get there, I do want to jump in and give TJ's words after he won.
Oh, go ahead.
He had to. He talked about having the key on his necklace of.
That was a great line.
Like the key to the place that he was evicted from, and he said that he wore that as a reminder of a place I couldn't go back to, and he said he doesn't need it now because it's a place he never has to go back to.
How did he not slip on that? Because that just seems like one of those sides like where you would slip on that just because there are some words in the same sentence. But I give credit.
There are some words in the same sentence. No, I get what you're saying. It's like, yeah, but I guess when you're speaking from the heart, it just flows, and that's what it seemed like to me. It seemed like he was speaking from the heart there, and this was truly a great accomplishment for him. And it goes to show how amazing the Cruiserweight Classic is, because I mean, we all know wrestling is scripted, but this felt like a great achievement because they did such an amazing job of playing up the authenticity of the Cruiserweight Classic. This had a very legitimate sports-like feel to it, and it did it
competition.
Yeah, competition, and that plays into T.J. Perkins and Gran Metalik being in the finals because, you know, hey, sometimes upsets happen. You know, sometimes somebody is just better than you on that day, and this was it. And this was done with some integrity, like I said, authenticity, and it seemed very legit. And the overall production of the Cruiserweight Classic, absolutely phenomenal. Hats off to the entire team from the ground up. The graphic designers for WWE, the people who made the entrance, like the intro to shit, everybody, the cameramen, the announcers, the bookers, especially the wrestlers themselves, just a wonderful experience. And I'm hoping that whoever booked the Cruiserweight Classic needs to have a hand in booking the Cruiserweight division.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We don't think with WWE, we hope.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that is the case because I want as much respect that we've seen in the Cruiserweight Classic on a week-to-week basis, as much respect as we've gotten there. I want that on Monday Night Raw. And if you can capture half of the magic, a tenth of the magic that we got in the Cruiserweight Classic on Monday Night Raw, then we're in for some good shit. And I'm hoping that the Cruiserweight Classic or the Cruiserweight division can alleviate some of the pressure that Monday Night Raw feels every single week to put on a 3-hour show, because the struggle is real right now. Like, I didn't even make a review of Raw this week because I was so goddamn bored.
The rating was a 1.88 this week. And that didn't even hit the lowest rating for the 4th of July special earlier. But yeah, I will also say it will be interesting to see how the cruiserweights are done. You think it's probably gonna be like what and I've checked out some footage, like what they did back in WCW, where they didn't have the cruiserweight division wasn't like a actual roster. They just let everybody come in and just wreck shit.
Are you saying like keeping the cruiserweights separate from everyone else?
Yeah.
I hope that they keep them separate, because I could just see with... I don't want to throw shade. However, I could just see somebody, I'm not going to name any names, but just somebody back there thinking, oh, these guys would be good fodder for Braun Strowman. Or these guys, like, if we need somebody to get into the ring and take a beating, let's go pick one of the cruiserweights. I do not want that to happen. The cruiserweight division on Monday Night Raw can be something amazing if you treat it with respect. I would like to see them in their own dedicated division, and they work with the people who are in their division. Like, shit, do it like you do the women's division. There's not much crossover. You get a mixed tag match every now and again, but other than that, that's a self-contained division there. And I would love to see the cruiserweight division be handled in that way. Maybe that's asking for way too much.
No, it's not. No, it's not. and here's the thing: like, I really want to get to the point to where, and here's the thing: I know it's a 3-hour show, but I want to get to a point to where if you're not gonna main event you don't have to main event with the cruiserweight title. Obviously, that's just not gonna happen. But at least
why not?
Well, I guess it could, but it's just so difficult. Like, again, back in SmackDown, like the mid. Early 2000s, like around 2002 or 2003, I remember seeing the Cruiserweight title main eventing that show a lot of times. And that's
like maybe that is asking too much, but
But I just wanted to get to that point to where if it does get to that point, I can be fine with it. And if it doesn't get main event, at least put it as an importance to either to the end of the second hour or the end or midway through the third hour. Just make that title feel important, and that's honestly what's going to be dictated for the motivation for the cruiserweights in that division to want to be the cruiserweight champion.
Like I said, all they need to do is make sure the person that booked the Cruiserweight Classic has some type of dealings with the division on a week-to-week basis.
Probably won't.
Because it was not just about getting into the ring and doing flippy shit and stuff that was shallow and didn't have any substance
looking like
behind
vanilla
it.
midgets.
What they did in the Cruiserweight Classic, some way, somehow, they made me feel something for these characters. These people that a lot of them, I'll admit, I wouldn't know them from Adam before the Cruiserweight Classic started. You know, but
especially
when it started,
Jack hurt.
yeah. That's one of them. Like, I would not
I love
know
that
who the hell that guy was before the Cruiserweight Classic. But now I'm a super huge fan simply by him going into the ring and being given the opportunity to tell a story with his character and just compete with the sky being the limit. And he did such a great job. And I think that that's one of the big success stories for the Cruiserweight Classic overall. And yeah, it's just that in the tournament format, you have your hands tied behind your back when it comes to telling stories and things like that. But they did a nearly flawless job with it. And the way that this tournament was structured and just looking at the different stories that were told throughout it, like I just wish that the Cruiserweight division can capture some of that some way, somehow.
Yeah, I count, like, I'm trying to count this over in my head, see if I got it right. Like, we probably had like a good 4 or 5 awesome moments.
We had the story of the veteran Brian Kendrick.
Yep,
Cedric Alexander.
Johnny Gargano and
Tommaso Ciampa. And then, of course, TJ Perkins winning. Or are you thinking of anything else?
That's probably it. But those.
We also had I guess like the fall of Kota Ibushi with them building him up as the big.
That's probably one, because that was a huge shocker. But you know me, Cedric Alexander, the way Triple H put him over, that TJ Perkins.
I know you were mentioning you were trying to say something about your favorite moment throughout the tournament. Was that it with Cedric Alexander?
That was the one, strictly just from a moment standpoint, and just the way Triple H just put Cedric Alexander over and made him feel like a big deal. And after he lost to Ibushi in a phenomenal match, I just can't. I gotta go with that one.
That's probably it for me too. But the big journey that I really love to follow in this tournament, it had to be Brian Kendrick. WWE telling the story of this veteran, and it'd be so easy to just go the sympathy route and have him go all the way through to the final and maybe even win it, because, you know, he's a face that a lot of people are familiar with.
The Brian Kendrick.
The Brian Kendrick. And they were willing to tell the story of this guy, him going out there and him telling everyone that this could be my last shot in the wrestling industry. I've screwed up a few times, but now I have my mind right. I don't have the body that I used to. I don't have the stamina that I used to. But you know what? I still have this fighting spirit, and I'm going to do everything I have to do, like scratch, claw, climb, be gritty as hell, trying to hold on to what could be my last shot. And for him to lose, man, that was like hell. It hit Daniel Bryan like he was gone after that. But just some wonderful stuff.
And people, we have no right to throw shade at TNA now, because Suicide Mannequin has started literally from the bottom. Now he's here.
Now, I don't remember Suicide doing the dab. So that's a completely different person there. But TJ Perkins, once, like, people I guess, like, when all of my, like, top guys started to be eliminated from the tournament, that was the guy that I looked to, and I was like, okay, I can rock with this. And it wasn't like somebody was wrenching my arm behind my back, like forcing me to support him.
Yeah.
It just, it just naturally had to get to that point. But he's been a guy that's been putting in solid performances every single time he stepped into the ring, and there's something really cool about him. I compared him to a video game character before. I believe it was King from Tekken, whoever the leopard or the tiger, whatever the fuck it is. Like his style, TJ Perkins reminds me of that character from Tekken. Yeah, that's him. Yep. So yeah, he good shit from TJ Perkins. Congratulations, and I can't wait to see what you do in the Cruiserweight division.
So this will be a yearly thing, right? The Cruiserweight Classic?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope the way that they were setting it up, I damn sure hope so. Hope so it is. And I think the Dusty Rhodes Classic is probably Tag Team Classic is probably on its way back from what I heard.
When did that happen?
Around this time last year.
We haven't heard anything about it though. But yeah, Cruiserweight Classic, great show. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. If you have not watched the Cruiserweight Classic, but shit, go watch it. Watch it.
It's worth it. It's so worth it.
Let's talk about NXT now.
NXT, oh yeah, absolutely.
The moment that we've all been waiting for, it finally happened to kick off the show. We had Samoa Joe. He came out and he was talking about, basically he was out there giving this routine like he was a changed man and he had an epiphany.
I didn't buy that crap for 1 minute because this is Samoa Joe, who I've known since 2008 TNA Samoa Joe. Like that was just Joe being Joe. And get this, the funny thing I found about it is that the crowd definitely wasn't buying it. Like you could like see it when Samoa Joe was going for the handshake. They were just saying no, 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 no. And I'll actually give them credit. They're actually smarter than they sound, but that's around the point.
Yeah, he was out there and he was, he had his epiphany. He was a changed man. He's finally seen the light. Then we get Nakamura, who comes down to the ring, and Samoa Joe is just building him up. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, he's taking this dude to the top of the mountain, like the peak of the mountain.
And he's going to drop him on his ass at the bottom.
He pushed him off the fucking side, and he hit every single corner, jagged edge on the way down. And he ended up getting hit with, I think it was a Uranagi.
Yep, Uranagi.
On the steel steps, and they did a stretcher spot with Nakamura.
Which we don't see often.
Especially not in NXT. Because they're
which I'm good. I'm good with that.
They're very like standard with, there's like a simplicity with what they do. So when stuff like this happens, it has a greater effect because they don't run it into the damn ground. And what I loved about, well, I guess we'll talk about that after. Like, you have anything more to say on just this specific spot right here?
You mean just the way that it happened?
Yeah. All that.
Not really much not really much to say. Like, this is just me, like, knowing Samoa Joe for who he's always been, which is why that was fantastic. I didn't really buy it, but I still liked it, if that makes sense.
Then, after that was all over, we come back from commercial, and William Regal is looking for Samoa Joe. This dude was in, like, what was it, like a black Escalade, some type of truck.
Black Escalade.
And some snitch was back there, like, Regal was like, have you seen Samoa Joe? Some snitch was like, yeah, I saw him go that way. William Regal tries to go after him. Samoa Joe is in the passenger seat of the fucking truck, and he speeds off, hanging out of the window, yelling at William Regal, get better security, and they speed off into the fucking night. That was hilarious. My God. That was so hilarious and just so nasty and badass, and just that's typical Samoa Joe. But when I say typical Samoa Joe, that's not me, hating on him at all. That's me saying that he's awesome all the damn time, and that's just another example of his awesomeness.
He didn't even look like a cow, which makes it even more awesome. Or like a chicken shit heel.
Yeah, my God, that was hilarious. Then the next match this was actually the first match of the show. Liv Morgan versus Rachael, Fazio, and I think that's how you pronounce your last name. That's not the important part here. I'll talk about what happened after, but I do have to mention I love the way that this match was positioned on the card because it wasn't much. The match wasn't anything at all.
Yeah, but it was to calm the people down,
exactly.
like for they saw something that's tragic because you can't like just automatic. It's like with a title match. You have it's like what they did at Takeover Brooklyn when you have awesome matches back to back to back. You don't give the crowd the rest and really gain their composure back. And especially when you have an injury like this, you need someone to really slow the pace so you can actually start somewhere and slowly build the show back up.
Yeah, and you get to live within that atmosphere for a moment and play up the significance of
even the commentaries were.
Yeah, because they were on commentary and they were like really down because you could like they were playing up the fact that they were really concerned with Nakamura and what happened to him because they just didn't know at that point. And I guess it was a tough spot for Liv Morgan and her opponent, but it wasn't really about the match. It was about what happened after the match. So this was positioned very perfectly on the show. After the match, Liv Morgan reveals to the world that she has a death wish. She calls out Asuka and says that she's coming after the NXT Women's Championship. I love the I can't call it this
is the next NXT women's feud going forward from what I've heard.
I was gonna say the Stones. It took for her to say something like that, but biology. So I don't know. She had something that was like, you know what? She ate her Wheaties this morning. She said, you know what? Damn it, I'm calling out Asuka. And I love how she was like in the ring when the crowd was chanting Asuka's gonna kill you, and she's just like she has her head held high and okay, girl, okay, all right.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't help but just cringe.
Because her like delivery or
it was the delivery. Like I just couldn't help but just cringe.
That's and I know New Jersey-ness right there. Which Corey Graves was like, this is bad. I don't like this.
But at least they're building towards something, which honestly all I can ask for.
Yeah, they're building they're building for Asuka to beat the brakes off of her. That's what's gonna happen.
Interesting that they're starting off with Liv Morgan though.
I'm not taking this really seriously though. Like I don't think she's gonna put up much of a fight.
Yeah, I know, but
probably play with her like a lion, like paws at its food.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that this is like again, this is kind of like testing the water, so to speak. That's the way I see it because, again, they're in the rebuilding stage. Because right now, the only people that I want to see in the women's title match right now is Ember Moon and Asuka, and unfortunately for me, we probably won't get that anytime soon because they need to save that. So if Liv Morgan's going to be the test subject at this point, then I'm willing to live with it.
Test subject, crash dummy, all that stuff.
Yeah, very much.
What else did we have? Drew Gulak versus Hideo.
I loved this match for how short it was.
Yeah, it was a good match. Love the GTS at the end.
This Drew... what's his how you pronounce his last name?
Drew Gulak.
Drew Gulak. He actually surprised me. And that's another thing that NXT does well so good. Like you can get enjoyment out of a match that probably lasted under 4 minutes, but just a nice hard hitting match right there. Can't wait to see what they're gonna be doing with Hideo Itami and Austin Aries moving forward. Obviously a match going down the line, so
yeah. This was a good outing from these two, and of course, I like the GTS has been collecting dust lately.
How about that slap, though?
Oh, shit. That slap from Drew Gulak to Hideo Itami, that was something nasty. And Hideo Itami should have been pissed off after that one, because when he went to return the slap, he didn't get that much, he didn't get that much oomph in his, so, yeah.
This was a pretty hilarious episode of NXT, and I got a lot of laughs from it.
We had the Authors of Pain up next versus some jobbers.
Oh, This NXT tag team division's in trouble.
But yeah, they're rebuilding. But no, I gotta give props to the authors of Payne, because I don't know, maybe it's just that I was not paying attention to
They're
them
growing on me, though.
Or maybe it's just that they are growing on me, but I really like them in this match.
They're just being straight, doing what they're supposed to be, which is what Gallows and Anderson honestly should be doing at Raw, just being two big, rugged dudes that dominate. And which NXT.
Let me jump on that though. Like they made the pivot on Monday, because did you notice how they kept saying over and over again how fucking terrible that segment was last week, and it truly was. They were trying to force the point that, you know what, they're leaving that in the past and we're gonna move forward. Just two guys who beat people up, and I'm so glad, because that gave me nightmares, that terrible last segment from
the others are paying. They're growing. They definitely are growing on me. Like, I am starting to see the somewhat improvement in the ring. I'm just glad they finally gave those guys freaking names. And I get this, all it is, they gave them names, but I still can't tell them apart.
One of them has tattoos. Now it's all about just finding out what his name is, and then the other ones. I know one. It's like A, and one of them starts with an A. The other starts with an R. Like shit, it's been a long night, people. I had a lot of stuff from the Cruiserweight Classic, so yeah, forgive me. Backstage, we had Ty Dillinger, basically talking about how his career, he had to take one step back to take two steps forward, and it seems as if he's on the road to something. I don't quite know what it is right now, but I'm looking forward to it. That's my homeboy, Ty Dillinger.
Can they please find some way to make him team with Heath Slater, and they could somehow become a trio? Like I so think that could work.
And well, I mean, Heath Slater, he has the music to go with it. The 3-man band. Have you noticed how they, like, at the beginning of his theme, it says, "I'm just one man," but I guess they got fucking lazy. They didn't change anything else. Like, the theme still says we're a 3-man band. And it said that, and that team has been broken up for a long time now. Yeah,
like sure, just put Ty Dillinger there. You could call them the perfect gore rednecks.
That name could use a little work. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. We don't have to make a decision now, but we got time. I got time today. What else do we have? The main event. Bobby Roode versus No Way Jose. Is that entrance for Bobby Roode new?
Yes, I know he wasn't doing that in Brooklyn.
Okay, I know for sure he didn't do it there, because that was some.
Real quick, was it just me, or seeing Bobby Roode compete in Full Sail feel weird?
He seems like he does not belong there.
And here's the thing, that I was hoping I wasn't, because here's the thing, it's like the way that his gimmick works. Remember how when he debuted, he pretty much said, like, he pretty much just flat out said, I shouldn't be performing in front of you guys, and he performed in front of 60,000 people, but yet his gimmick is he does it, but yet tonight he wrestled in front of them anyway. Like, I honestly think his gimmick should be he only wrestles at takeovers.
Or, you know what? I thought of something. I was just thinking about this today. Because he actually mentioned this in his intro promo. He talked about how he wanted to get NXT to a point where you had, like, aristocrats in the audience and getting rid of all of those knuckle-dragging mouth breathers in Full Sail.
Yeah.
I would love if they incorporated it into his gimmick that before Bobby Roode matches, he goes and, like, kicks people out of their seats and replaces them with like people with suits on and stuff.
That could work.
That would be so fucking funny, and it actually makes sense. Like, he's like, oh, fine, we got some people that I are worthy of my presence, and if he did that, it'll make him being a heel much more believable, because no one wants to boo.
Yeah,
Bobby
the crowd
Roode.
proved it tonight when they were singing this song, which I still hate.
I hate that too. I hate it when they do it with Nakamura too. Like, let us listen to the fucking song, please. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, I really wish Bobby Roode would incorporate that into his gimmick. Just start kicking people out of their seats. And like, you can come back after the match ends. Let him stand in the hallway or something. Watch on the fucking monitor.
The match with No Way Jose was actually pretty decent for what I saw. Like, No Way Jose got more offense in than I wanted to. But hey, I mean, when you do the switcheroo from Andreas Cianamas to No Way Jose, and yeah, I thought the match was just decent for what it was. I just felt it was just so awkward for Bobby Roode the way he is just competing in front of the Full Sail crowd. Like, it gave me, unfortunately, TNA Vibe moments all over again, and I don't ever want to feel that again.
Like, goddamn, he just can't escape it. You know, he makes his way from TNA to WWE still in front of like 20 people, but
yeah,
it's a little more than that. But I see Bobby Roode taking it old school a little bit. He's using a pump handle drop as a finisher. Tonight he used the DDT.
What is it about the finisher that is not clicking with me?
What, you didn't like this DDT either?
No, I did not like that either.
He's just trying to bring that old school back.
Just let him do the freaking rule bomb. just let him do that, because it's just like, again, like when he was in Brooklyn and he ended with that pump handle slam, that was awkward. Tonight he ended with that lifting DDT, that felt awkward. I just hope he finds a finisher that feels impactful enough to be like, oh man, yes, that truly was glorious. Whereas,
yeah,
oh, that was dull as hell.
Alrighty, you have anything else you want to talk about before we head off air? I will remind you, we'll be on, well, I don't know about Friday yet. We'll see.
I mean, I will say though, like, I know you probably didn't notice me on Twitter last night, knowing that it was SmackDown. I don't know if you noticed me on there, but yeah, I do want to say something about that opening segment though. Very kick-ass.
Yes, it was.
Very, very kick-ass. I really love the realism that was in, and when you can bring realism into wrestling, that just makes the story all around great. And of course, AJ Styles, the rightful WWE World Champion, he just looks so right with that championship.
Yes. It's just something that it fits. I'm telling you, like this, him beating John Cena and just him being as awesome as he is, but it just feels right. You beat John Cena, then you enter the world title picture and you become a champion. Boom, it fits.
Yeah. And real quick on the Raw note, Raw sucked ass again. Like,
it did. I got to give props to my boys Kevin Owen and Roman Reigns.
I didn't even watch the main event. I'm not lying.
Many people did, because that rating for
after the New Day
tanked.
Yeah, after the New Day versus the club match, I turned Raw off at the 10 o'clock mark because I couldn't do it anymore. And what I just don't get is, what's it gonna, when the Cruiserweight division comes to Raw, is it gonna be more of the same? Because here's the thing, you can have the Cruiserweight division on Raw, because let's just face it, as much greatness as we want to see from there, they're pretty much gonna be there in reality just to fill time for them 3 hours, which is good in a sense. But if it's just gonna be the same,
it's gonna because we've talked about this with Steven on air before. There's just something when you do something like NXT, like the Cruiserweight Classic, and you think, oh, just move this up to a bigger stage, of course it's going to be awesome. There's a disconnect there, and I'd be fooling myself if I didn't admit to being scared that there will be a disconnect with the Cruiserweight division, because what if it gets to a point where it's like, okay, well, you're on the main roster now, and
sink or swim.
You're filling a slot, and you go down, like everything else that happens on Monday Night Raw just you're pulled down to their level. And I don't want that to happen. I don't.
Like we all don't. Like I'm terrified. Like it just all matters on how they structure it. I just really, until they show it, I just don't see much of a change. And if, like, what's it gonna take for WWE to open up their eyes? Because 1.88, if that doesn't open your eyes, and don't even give me the excuse because Monday Night Football was the reason, even though it was one of the reasons, but that really should have been the main reason, because you've been doing the same thing every single week in terms of telegraphing on how the matches are going to happen. Like, just change it up. Like, I don't know what's it going to take for WWE, well, pretty much for the Raw brand to step it up. And Jay, I truly get what you've been telling me on how, like, on the SmackDown versus Raw talk. Mm-hmm. I truly get that. I just wanted to be a situation where if you're gonna have this brand split, I'm fine with just watching SmackDown.
You know what?
If you're gonna
hold on. Let's save it.
Save it for the podcast.
Save it for Friday.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. We just tease everybody with this discussion. Now they got to watch the show or listen to the show on Friday. Boom, that's how you work it. But yeah, what do we call this? Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in to the show tonight. Go ahead and rate this video whatever you think it deserves. Feel free to rate it. And I see all of the people who are watching right now. You know you hear me. Rate the damn video. Maybe I shouldn't have said it like that, because now they're going to be like, oh, he's cursing at me. I'm thumbs down. But whatever. Rate the video.
At least you want that one. Actually, I'm not even going to throw shade from last week.
Yeah, we got it in the show now. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you later. Until then, peace.
Later days.